Hey everyone, it's Murray5 here. Today I thought I'd create a quick video talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is answering RFPs. And I know you all love getting enormous RFPs that have hundreds or maybe 1,000 questions in them, and especially the ones that are more essay format, because they are super fun, trying to respond in long form and so forth. And I bet, if I was a betting man, that nothing that you write in an RFP, for the most part, is going to be even read by the customer. I may be wrong. They may go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but I'm suspect about that. So what I'm guessing is that RFPs are just a rite of passage or a price that you have to pay to get into a deal. Now, a lot of the times you get questions, and like I said, they're in long format. And a lot of times you solve this by having a library of RFP responses that you paste together. But a lot of times the RFP questions seem like a stump the chump, where you've got to go and research a whole lot of information, get information out. So I thought, since RFPs tend to be delegated down within an organization to the last person on the list, which tends to be a technical specialist or a pre-sales person, then why don't we delegate down even further and see if we can use AI to go out and do some of this work. So this is an experiment that I worked through over the weekend, and I thought I'd share it with you. So what we'll do is we'll start, and this is actually one of the questions that I got, and this was for a government or a semi-government customer. I won't say who it is, and they've got a question. Do we support government design? Do we support web content accessibility guidelines, specifically 2.2? And I'm thinking, what the heck? So I could do a lot of research on this, and chances are the Dynamics handles this and follows the guidelines because it's very particular about standards and so forth. But I thought, why don't I go out and let's just use GPT to go out and answer this for me. I've done this a couple of times and with limited success, but as the models get better, then the responses get better and it actually understands more. So I started off, and the first thing I did is I said, you're responding to RFP proposals and you should answer with regards to Dynamics 365. We don't want SAP answers, we don't want Oracle answers, we don't want generic answers. We want it for Dynamics. So I went through and I started with the GPT model. I'm using 4.0. Later on, there's going to be better versions, but this is what I have to work with right now, which is pretty good just by itself. And I asked it to be the RFP assistant. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed it the response and see what it gives me. And so I'm going to just paste that in verbatim, not even try to wordsmith it. And as you can see, it's starting to give me some good responses here. And I'm looking through this, and it follows design principles, and it has keyboard accessibility and error identification and a whole lot of other things. So for me, I think I couldn't have written better than this. So in the end, this is the result that it gave me. Now, I want to fact check this a little bit. And what I can do is I can now say include citations. So where did you get this information from? You're not just making it up and hallucinating and all of that stuff. So I just said include the citations. And in theory, I should do this every time I go out and create this, because it gives us the links back to the end results. And you can see here that it's pulling in information from Microsoft, it's pulling in RPA information, it's pulling in information from the guidelines document as well. And also you might have seen Gartner and Forrester popping up there. So there's some pretty good citations here showing me why this is a good response. So here's the response that it gives me. It's a little bit more concise. It's reworded it a little bit, but it's still the same general sort of function. So I would stop here, but I thought, let's try something a little bit different. Let's repeat this process and let's see what the competitors would respond to. So let's run this through and do it with SAP and Oracle. So we're going to run this, and I'll just say repeat the process with SAP and Oracle. I think later on I'm going to do some other ERP systems, but we'll keep the main competitors that we've got here. And I'm going through, and it's doing the same thing. And SAP seems to be faring well against this requirement. It also handles the accessibility guidelines and so forth. Oracle Cloud Fusion is doing the same. It has its own responses. And the interesting thing that's going to pop up here is that I can look at the SAP results and I can look at the Oracle results. And then now what I'm going to do, just to see the results and see what the customer would do in theory if they read these things, is let's compare the results. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say compare the results for all three of these systems. And it's running through. And now the really interesting thing is it's going out and creating some analytics for me, showing the different versions, and also with each of these items that are broke out, how is it sort of comparing? So we're getting a little bit of competitive information here within the system. So we're running through, and it's also giving us a summary comparison. This is super interesting because it's saying which one is the best one, which one should we use, and it's when we get to the end, we'll see that sometimes it recommends SAP, sometimes it recommends Oracle, sometimes Dynamics, which is fair because for the most part for this item, anyone should be able to handle this unless you're a 2-bit company. So it's going out and showing me the accuracy of the financial transactions, the AI automation. We can get some competitive information here as to what SAP can do and Oracle, and then alignment, and then adherence to guidelines and continuous compliance, and then here's the final result. So we've gone through and run some analysis, and it's saying that in some cases Dynamics is best, sometimes SAP, sometimes Oracle, which sort of makes sense. So I thought I'd finish this off, and I'd go out and let's look at the Ross ERP, my old company, and also Barn, a product that's even older, and then QuickBooks, something for the cheap people. And this is going to go out and run through this and give me even more competitive analysis. So as this is working, the interesting thing here is that where the new models, the new language models, actually have a lot of information here around the products. And for answering RFPs and also analyzing the RFP questions and how other people would respond, then this is super, super interesting and super useful. If the customers went out and just did this themselves, then it would save us a lot of heartache because we wouldn't have to go out and do this work ourselves and then collate it. So if we go out and if we look at what we should, which one should we choose, so we'll do all the work for us, then it's going to pop up with a response and tell us that Dynamics is good in one situation, as we guessed. SAP S/4HANA is better in some, Oracle is better in some, Ross and Barn and QuickBooks not so good because they're a little bit older, but I just did that for fun. So we've gone out and it's creating that response, and if we look at the responses, then it's showing us all the different versions, and then it has a final recommendation. So what this does is this sort of shows you how you can go out and use AI to help with RFPs, which was the main goal. But also this is how you could go out and do your own homework and comparisons and see what you're up against. Or if you're a customer or a selection partner that's out there, then why don't you just save us the time and let us go out and do what we should be doing, which is helping demonstrate the value and the additional add-on components here, rather than these silly little niggly questions. So thought I'd end here. I've gone through and shown you a couple of things which are, I think, super interesting, and highlighted that AI is getting better. It's got more understanding, or at least the OpenAI models and the GPT models have. I'm guessing that the Minstrel and all of the others are comparable with the knowledge that they have. But I don't think this is cheating. I think this is just going out and delegating one level down to someone else. In this case, it's AI, so that I don't have to do all this work, and I can compile it. Even if I do compile it this way, it still takes some time, but it doesn't take as much time as it takes if you have to hand write all of this work. So I thought I'd stop there, and if anyone has any questions, then you can contact me, find me on LinkedIn, you can email me directly. I'm available for weddings and bar mitzvahs. Just contact me and I'll be there for you. So hope this was interesting, and I hope this saves some of you a little bit of time in the long run as AI gets better and better to track this information. So have a great day, and bye everyone.